But there's nothing that smells worse than the kitchen in prison. In between college and law school, I did the prison education program. Sometimes I'd go to Eastern, but I was generally at Walk Hill. And now I think about it, I was 22 years old. What a stupid idea that was.
Oh, yep.
But the kitchen had the worst smell. Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the order of the August 10th workshop meeting. Stand for the place of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Much easier doing that live than it is.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Allen. Here. Councilman Paddock is absent. Councilman Sunisa. Here. Supervisor Reed.
Here. The July financial report has been filed with the town clerk, and you each have a copy. For the general fund, we have. Oh, yes, sorry. Town of Rochester Town Board accepts the agenda as prepared by the town.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay. Now, the report filed with clerk. The general fund, we have received 45.5% of our revenue. We have spent 58.5% of our expenditures. So at present, we are at 363,000 more spent than received toward the fall, and then in January, there's always some very large revenue items that come that get reverted back. So we are right about where we should be. And we also have $320,000 of fund balance that we put toward revenue, which I don't believe shows in that total. Does not. So where general stands, highway has received 61.6% of their revenue. They have spent 65.8. They are at a shortfall of 110,000 currently. There was just shy of $600,000 in CHIPS revenue filed last week. We will be seeing that in September, probably mid-September. So within the next 2 months, those revenue items should balance out. The revenue for general fund in July was $238,411.65. The revenue of highway fund, $5,442.04. Expenditures with abstract 7. Excuse me. General fund. All right, let me one of those. Aaron, do you mind reading this? I'm sorry.
Sure. Where did you stop?
The abstract.
Okay, so abstract 7. General fund was $62,808.79. Highway fund was $206,492.25. Capital fund was $54,750. Street lighting fund, $334.68. Ambulance fund, $3,875. Escrow fund, $2,743.11.
Total expenditures for July. General fund, $335,434.10. Highway fund, $261,672.35. Capital fund, $54,750. Street lighting fund, these are all the same, but $334.68. Ambulance fund, $3,875, and then escrow, $2,743.11.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. Okay, upcoming events reminder. We have a public hearing at our September 7th meeting. We are proposing extending the moratorium from October 2nd until December 15th. This will be the last extension. We will be done by December 15th and have new laws, new zoning and subdivision codes adopted. We just need a couple extra months to get referrals to the county and let us get it done. So, and then Aaron, the third Thursday?
Yes, there's a third Thursday next week, and that's you. That's oh man, I don't remember. That would be August 17th, right? And that's on
Gardening from a beekeeper's perspective.
gardening from a beekeeper's perspective. Thank you, Peter.
And September 2nd, plastic at the
Yep.
transfer station.
Mhm.
So anybody who's saving your plastic bags, first Saturday of every month at the transfer station from 11:30 to 3:30. Bring your plastic. Charlotte, any reminders of anything?
No, not any events. We
No,
have
no,
our,
no.
our housing committee meetings next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday?
At
Okay,
6 o'clock here.
okay. And, okay, so our first agenda item is a discussion with the applicant of the EEO zoning designation. We received some additional comments today by email over the last several days. I forwarded or they've all been either forwarded or you've been copied on them. They all are included in the Google Drive. We also received a new submittal today in paper format. I did get it in digital format. I will email that to everybody tonight. So Henry and Ren, why don't we let you guys walk us through what might have changed? I do have a board that is a bigger display of the site plan. Put it in the middle if anybody wants to refer to it.
Hi, everybody.
You turn that volume up
Yes.
a little bit.
Can you guys hear me okay? My internet's out and I'm hotspotting.
I'm sorry, we're turning up the TV. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you guys okay. I just want to make sure the connection is okay on your end.
Yep, we've got you.
So everyone has the packet, I'm assuming.
Was in your folders tonight?
Yeah, we just got it tonight. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so just to quickly go over it. First off, let's see, gallery space has been indicated. So we're looking at a 700 square foot maximum, right, of the gallery space. So that's 4 additional spots that we're required now for the project. It's 4 because of the use. Commercial use is 1 spot for every 175. So that brings us to 700, magic number. So can I just read this off if that's okay?
Sure.
Okay. So please note this increase the total number of the parking spots provided to 57. Should be noted that the project's EAF has been revised to reflect the parking and its associated calculations. 2, we've clarified events. It should be noted that we don't have a designated event space. There's just been some confusion about that. So we did make a note that we clarified what the event space, or I'm sorry, events would actually be, which would be kind of weddings, retreats, and kind of, dining overflow and reunions, so on and so forth. That's indicated on the map. These changes are in addition to the changes that were included in the drawings and EEF presented at the last town board meeting, which were as follows. Truck movements, additional truck turnaround space was provided in front of the granary building. Also, detail is shown by way of inset on the movement and a sample of 40-foot wheelbase truck. The front walkway has been modified accordingly to accommodate the additional length of the truck pull-in area. Please note that the area should now be able to adequately handle the full gamut of potential truck deliveries from a customary reduced length semi with a tractor unit. For example, day cab, single drive tractor unit, and a trailer unit, 28-foot to 33-foot pup trailer unit, as well as the more typical box truck delivery. For example, larger straight box or beverage truck, or 26-foot box or beverage truck, or shorter, which is quite typical, up to 26 feet. Normally does not require a CDL. This is written by the engineer, but so if I'll refer to myself in the third person. Our client also expects that smaller local suppliers will also be using smaller delivery vehicles, including vans, sprinter vans. The facility expects delivery from food, beverage, linen, etc. suppliers. The owner does not plan on engaging suppliers that would utilize full-length semi-trailers, for example, 48 to 53 foot. Parking, additional site parking was shown, including a new third accessible spot located near the bike shop, which, if you guys remember from the last conversation, we indicated that. An accessible path was also shown for this spot as well. Scaling back the project scope, wellness building and elimination and reduction in co-working space, reduced the parking requirements, which was reflected on the plans. The parking turnaround, a demarcated hammerhead for vehicle turnaround, was shown at the end of the parking lot. It is striped as required so that it will not be used for parking. Channelized parking access. Channelized access for general public and employee parking was clarified and demarcated. The general public will enter and exit the parking by way of the access to further southeast on towpath. Employees for the 4 employee spots will enter approximately at the middle of the property on the towpath and will exit at the in the general public egress. I don't know if you guys have this in front of you. It should be in the packet. We did an exploded view of that entrance. Do you have that?
Yes.
For 4 towpath?
It's in the big packet.
Yeah, it was added, folded in. It's not part of the binder.
Got it.
So if there are any questions or confusion about that, maybe now is a good time to address it.
Yeah, do you want to ask them now?
Yeah, I just figured since we're on it,
Okay.
you guys want to talk
So-
about? Yeah.
So here's my question, Ren. So I see that you've got that entrance for 4 vehicles. I'm concerned with the width of that, which is fairly significant, that people are gonna try to like back out and directly onto the road. I would prefer that we close that entrance down considerably, so it's not a 2-way access, so it's only a 1-way. You're either going in or you're going out. And then my other question is,
Right.
through the other gravel parking area where all the spaces are, is there a divider between the two? Because my biggest concern is you're gonna have 3 entrances off of towpath that are all very close proximity to each other. And if there's no divider between the parking area, you're gonna get people coming in where the O in towpath is, and then driving directly into the other spot. And that's, we really want to avoid that.
So the way that Alan engineered this, our engineer, is that, and listen, we haven't provided any signage yet, because I believe that's planning board level site plan review. So the idea is anyone pulling into these 4 existing spots in front of Fort Towpath, there would be a sign clearly indicating this was employee parking. So anybody who is pulling in there is very familiar with the flow of how this would work, because they're employees.
Right,
The
but
idea-
what's gonna stop somebody from parking in the other from going out that way?
That's a good question.
I think there needs to be some sort of divider between the two. And in my opinion, the opening for the 4 employee spots needs to be much smaller.
So the idea
Because right
is,
now, if somebody were coming from Main Street down Towpath and they saw that first entrance, even with signage, people don't read. They're gonna see that big entrance and they're gonna pull in there. So I think somehow we need to close that off, even if it's something as, if this is gonna be 4 employees, maybe it's a gate that they have a clicker in their vehicle that they opens and closes the arm, something along those lines. But I think if you just leave it wide open, we're gonna get people going in and out of there, get to the other side. Or if you close it off, they're gonna come in there and then get in there and get stuck and go, what do I do now?
and so you don't think it would be adequate to have a smaller entrance and then clearly marking it as employee parking, and then from the main entrance parking, putting a do not enter sign from this
Well,
forward?
I think you need a divider, a physical divider between the two.
But then the 4 employee parking spots, our intention was for them to pull out of the main entrance, so they're not backing out or turning around and pulling out
Right,
of
But
where
I
they
think- yeah,
Guys,
If you
can I just suggest that we just take this feedback to Brenner and Larios? I mean, we're not engineers. They've
yeah.
engineered like half of Ulster County. We generally trust them that they know what
Yeah,
they're doing. But
I gotta be honest,
uh,
Henry, the 3 entrances that close to each other are a significant problem for me.
sure,
I'll be
I just
Yeah,
we're not. We really can't. I don't know why they engineered it the way that they did, and they're not on the call. So I
yeah.
rather than trying to play engineers,
Yeah.
I'd rather just.
I mean, this isn't a new thing I brought up. I brought this up before, and it's still concerning to me. I truly think that signage isn't the answer. I don't know, what do other board members think? Let me not be the only one speaking here, so.
I think we want to reduce traffic impacts as much as we can. I know having several entrances on the same road is not necessarily the best thing. I'm also wondering, is this a level of decision that if this were to go to the planning board, that the planning board would be able to weigh in, or do we have to resolve this with the EEO decision?
I think my feeling is because it's access to towpath, I think we should decide it,
Oh, right, yeah, we were talking about that. Okay,
so.
so, yeah. So, yeah, we need to have it resolved.
Michael?
So-
I also agree with your opinion, Mike, that there needs to be a barrier or something, because I do think 3 entrances,
Yeah,
that being the first entrance you're gonna see coming off the main highway, that people are gonna go in there, get turned around, so there needs to be some type of
I mean,
remedy to
yeah,
the flow of what's going on there. I know signage is at the planning board level, but it clearly needs to be a one-way through there in and out also to make it safer. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
I mean, I don't know what the cost of a gate that is on a mechanical clicker, I don't think they're that expensive, and that may be the answer, because otherwise, I think people are gonna pull in there. Even if they know they're supposed to go the other way, they're gonna pull in and start coming in that way.
They're not terribly expensive. It's not like a deal breaker. I just want to make sure we get it right. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. I think we just want it to actually be better and actually be safer and just have
Sure.
our engineers sign off that,
Okay.
you know, that is
Yeah.
indeed the case. So.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the 4 spots. The 4 spots make sense. I get it, why they're there. But I think just some way to close it off so the general public doesn't decide it's a shortcut. Okay. I think, you can address that with your engineers and go from there. You want to move on, Ren?
Yeah, is this the thing that's gonna hold this up for you guys, or can we?
Well,
can
I
you just
I don't
indicate what
think
you
that,
want from us,
I
or
don't
we-
think this is gonna hold us up from discussing seeker tonight, but we do need answers sooner rather than later on this. Because eventually we have to get to a decision from you guys, so.
Well, I'm asking, should I have the engineer join right now?
I don't think,
I think we're gonna need a new update.
yeah, I think we're gonna need an updated plan. Why don't we wait and see if there's any other questions? I don't think it's something you need to answer tonight.
Okay,
But I think within the next couple weeks, we do need an answer, because at some point we have to, move this forward and get a decision for you guys one way or the other.
okay. So, well, just to wrap up the rest of that paragraph, we referring to the planning board where signage would be provided and they would be weighing in on, but we'll take this up after this. Let's see. So wellness programming, as you can see, was deleted. The sewage reserve area, additional sewage reserve beyond the code required 100% sewage reserve area that was in proximity to the creamery, that was deleted from the plans being reviewed by the board. Please note that our office was trying to go above and beyond the code by proposing more than the code required 100% sewage reserve area. The sewage system area and the 100% sewage reserve area shown on the plans are each designed per their respective site conditions, deep tests and percolation tests. In brief, we eliminated that reserve area, so that's no longer a concern, or should no longer be a concern and an issue for the creamery. Also, the deletion of the wellness programming. Let's see. Noise. So we attached a letter to this. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I can just kind of jump to that, but quickly I'll just read through
The
here.
letter in the packet, Ren?
Yeah. It is, I think it's on, it's the last page.
Right at the back, couple, 2 pages in. Yeah. right
Got
there.
it. The last page.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'll just read that quickly. So in response to the question raised at the 27th Town Board public hearing regarding sound mitigation measures, our sound plan is as follows. Speakers will be set up for indoor and outdoor dining upon completion of the granary site and project. Sound will be tested along the perimeter of site to determine which location on perimeter has the largest difference between ambient noise levels and noise levels with music on. Levels on main amplifiers will be tested to determine what amount of amplification raises the most sensitive point on the perimeter by 10 dB. Once locations are set and levels are discovered, a sound limiter will be installed on sound systems to limit overall amplification to 10 decibels or less as required by town code with a unit such as the Atlas Sound TSD ALC2 audio level controller and limiter. And there's 100 products similar to that on the market. That's an example of one that we could use. So I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to read that paragraph because I just said it all. Sanitary facility design. As you know from earlier presentations, the facility's sanitary infrastructure is under the purview of the Ulster County Department of Health from a permitting perspective. The UCDOH is the agency responsible for the review and approval of the project's sanitary infrastructure, as the facility will be regulated under various sections of the New York State Sanitary Code as follows. Permitted food service establishment by way of subpart 14-1 food service establishments of the New York State Sanitary Code 10 NYCRR subpart 14-1. Permitted temporary residence by way of subpart 7-1 temporary residences of the New York State Sanitary Code 10 NYCRR subpart 7-1. Public water supply by way of subpart 5-1 public water supply of the New York State Sanitary Code 10 NYCRR subpart 5-1. The project scope reduction, for example, wellness component deletion, co-working space reduction, has reduced the project flow. This has been reflected in a revised Ulster County Department of Health sanitary design submission, which is currently under review by the Department of Health. It has also been reflected in the project's New York State Department of Environmental Conservation State Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, SPEEDIES, general permit application package that has been submitted to the Department of, NYSDEC and the UCDOH. Additional granular detail, for example, zoning code compliance will be the subject of additional detail provided to the planning board as the project team submits and presents the project to the planning board. Also attached here is a copy of the EAF Part 1, which reflects project modifications. And please note that a copy of this correspondence is being forwarded to Nadine Carney of Peak Engineering. And that's it.
Okay. Why don't I start and let the board see if they have any questions? Anybody want to go first? Okay. So can you just guys just tell me where the additional 4 spots got added? Just trying to wrap my head around. I don't have the old drawing in front of me, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have it as well, but if you look at the hammerhead, behind the toll barn, there's, you can see that there's now a row of 8 spots.
Got it. And it used to, understood. I remember now. It used to be shorter.
So the 4 that we added for the coal barn, we added on the site, and we're not asking you for any more additional spots.
Right.
Other than the previous 6 that we requested.
So the ask is still for 6 in the municipal.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Landscaping is something that the planning board will be taking up.
Yeah.
Not necessarily our, but is there any plan for any sort of, with the parking being so close to the adjacent property, is there any ability or plan to do any sort of landscaping or trees along that border between the two?
Absolutely. Our plan is to probably do some evergreens, like a row of evergreens, and also use like some existing materials that are on the property to create a barrier, one for sound and also just for sight. Yeah.
Mary Lou, if in our decision, we can, this is a question, we can do a page of ideas to forward to the planning board where we're not going to necessarily mandate it, that we suggest strongly that the planning board.
I wouldn't do those in the decision. I do that as a separate document.
Separate document? Okay. Okay. Because there's many things that are not necessarily what we're going to review, but I know there's a few floating around in my head of recommendations that I would like to make from my
I would say
perspective.
that in the.
Be a separate
decision-
document that we would.
Yeah, that would be a separate document. And you can just say, this board will issue a separate document
Okay.
to the planning board with our
Because
recommendations.
there's things for specific language and signage. I know that it's popped in my head that, I think it's the right words and would make those recommendations and things like landscaping, which we're not addressing.
Yep.
Okay. That's really all I have. The one thing that pops into my head, with the parking areas and knowing that it is a gravel surface, I understand you can't have painted lines. It might be something you want to talk with your engineers if there's any way to sort of demarc the spaces, because short of you guys having parking attendants, if people park themselves, we all know without lines, everybody parks further away than we want them to. So
How does that work for ADA too?
the ADAs are wider. The ADA has a gap next to it.
Right, but it's not marked. How
Oh,
do you ensure?
it would have a sign for ADA.
But that doesn't demarcate how much clearance you need on.
Yeah, I don't think you need to have it, because like at the courthouse, before we paved, we didn't have it marked, we just had the signage. I believe, as long as it's demarked for ADA. But
That doesn't mean
it's
you
a
pull in
good-
a van and you can't get access.
understood, it's not a bad question to ask, and that's why I don't know what the answer is.
So I wonder if there are like rubber buffers or something that you can define those.
Yeah,
spaces.
yeah,
But
or even at the edge of the parking area, if there were posts or something, and people have something to aim for, they're going to follow the pattern. There's one here and the two over by the granary.
Is this gravel here or is it?
No, it's gravel.
Where the
It's all-
spots are?
Yeah. It's all gravel. The darker is new disturbance, the lighter is
Right.
existing.
Yeah.
disturbance.
the full gravel.
But it's all proposed to be gravel. Which is permeable and then.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
it's good for
which
now.
is what we want. I think it's just something to think about. I mean, I don't know, I'm not expecting an answer now, but you may want to go back to your engineers and just ask if they have any suggestions or ideas about how to demarcate the spots. Whether it's a post in the ground at each corner of each spot or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know the answer, because this is a problem. This is not a new problem. We face this with other applications. And, clearly paving it is worse, because paving it does cause more runoff, and our goal is to eliminate runoff. So we're not asking you to pave it, but if with that number of spots, I think you want to have some sort of management of the system.
Agreed.
So, okay.
Is
Is this something that can be reviewed by the planning board? Or is this something that we need?
Yeah,
to-
I think you can. In my opinion, I think you can. This is not like the access to towpath is something the town board needs to consider. The demarcating the spots, I think, is something the planning board can, in my opinion. can
Well,
consider.
definitely the hammerhead. How do you keep the hammerhead clear?
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to definitely be a way to demarcate that hammerhead is a no parking area, so people can turn around.
Well, it's a handicap parking area.
No, she's talking about the hammerhead at
Oh, on
the
the other end, I
at the end
see.
of here.
Otherwise.
Michael, it's Mike Moriello. I have taken copious notes, provided that anyone can read them, but about this issue, and I will pass that on to Alan.
Okay.
So I think for Ren is right. For us, it may be more burdensome to get to quick answers, which I think Alan.
No, and I don't think we're looking for it. I'm just throwing out concerns that I have now that we're at this level of stage. Prior we were still looking at the overall big picture. Now we're looking at a level of detail where we're pointing out in specific issues. Another issue that pops to mind is over by behind the coal barn and the granary area, where you have that turnaround for the trucks. There should be some sort of barrier there just to stop people, to let them know that's where you park. And they don't continue driving down that path. Whether it's a fence or something. So, but there needs to be a demarcation those are two handicap, or ADA, not handicap, ADA spots, so. And then I would definitely propose, out by the roadway, and again, this is a planning board thing in the signage, to say, truck delivery and ADA parking only. And there also should be a sign there that says no backing in, because I guarantee you a truck driver will try to back in from towpath.
So if I'm looking at page 4 of Alan's
Yep.
with the engineers, do you see the 4th page of the drawings of the engineers' drawings?
Mm-hmm.
So what he's indicated here is all this necessary signage, but how we would demarcate the parking, and he indicates here that it would be spray paint.
Okay. And that's on the 404. Got it.
4th page of
Yeah.
the details.
Yep.
Symbol,
I see it. Okay.
painted lines and symbols.
Yep.
Sorry, I only just got these in my hand, a few
No,
hours ago.
that's fine. And I'll be honest, I did not look at them in detail, but as long as, these are just things that I think need to be addressed down the road. The only one that, to me, that is before a decision is urgent is to address the access on the towpath. Because I do really think that 3 accesses that close to each other is gonna lend itself toward problems.
Okay, so I've just been texting with the engineer. He says he can look at gating and make it and make
Yeah.
that work.
And there's many solutions. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be a gate, it could be a chain, there's many solutions. So we'll leave it to you guys to resolve the question,
Right.
but I think it's a question that does need to be resolved before we come up with a final decision. So.
Okay, and which is next week is when you're making your final decision?
No, we would not be until September at this point. We still have to do the seeker. And that's at least 2 to 3. We don't have any meetings next week. Our next meeting after that is the 31st. And I don't
Okay.
think we're gonna have seeker ready until September.
Okay, but you'll still be accepting updates.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tweaks like that are just that. They're tweaks.
Okay.
Anybody else on the board? Those are the items that I have concerns of. I don't have any other concerns.
I guess I could go, so I just want to confirm, I just opened up the notes from our engineering review. This truck turnaround, the delivery pull-in,
Yes.
now compliant with the code, 70 feet deep, 14 feet wide, is that? I just didn't see any numbers, so I just wanted to confirm that it is now up to the standards that were asked for by our engineer. Is that correct?
So let me just go back.
Based on the scale, I think.
Let me just refer back to his note. Truck turnaround space was provided in front of the granary building, also details as shown by way of inset on the movement and a sample 40-foot wheelbase truck.
So it's supposed to be 60 feet deep and 40 feet in width with an overhead clearance of 14 feet. So we have been asking for it to be compliant, and I'm reading that it says it's accommodating what we're saying, but I didn't see any numbers.
Henry or Ren, do you know what the granary building width is
Length is?
or length?
Give me 1 second.
Including I mean, it was added to so many times over the years, including the extra wing.
Well, I'm just going by what the picture is here.
it says additional space was provided. But was it 6 feet or because it was 6 feet too short before. So I'm just, it's just that.
What I'm trying to determine, Aaron, is if this is more than 70 feet, then they have to be okay, because in comparison to the granary building,
Yeah.
it's longer than the building.
So I do somewhere, yeah, give me 2 seconds here, because I do have it.
Yeah, but the truck,
Yeah, so my concern, I'm still concerned about having the ADA parking in the truck turnaround area, so I think we need to make sure that it's big enough to accommodate both uses. Although I
Yeah,
still
so
have concerns about
the granary barn is 75 feet long.
okay,
Because I think that gives us the magic
Right.
number.
because the 70 feet, if the granary barn is 75 feet,
I think that the whole point of the exercise was to get it to code. I think that's why it's in here.
so if you could just verify for us.
Yeah.
also that would be in our decision, that it would have to be that length.
The 70 feet plus the length of the handicap.
Yes,
park.
so it needs to be 70 feet plus the length for the ADA parking. So it needs to be 70 feet from the edge, from the back end of the ADA vehicle to the where the front of the truck will be. And
Make note.
I believe you have it, honestly. If the granary building is 75 feet, I believe you have it, but you can just verify for us, and you don't need to answer right now.
And you can, this got sent to Nadine.
Right.
To verify that.
Yeah. I just don't know that we have anything that is scalable at this point in our hands to compare it to. So all we need is some sort of certification from your engineer that space minus the ADA parking meets our delivery area code.
But also, Mary Lou, couldn't we just put in our decision, like, what the minimum distance would be
Yeah,
and
We can do
say,
that.
Yeah, but it's good for it to match the map.
Yeah.
And I think it is looking at what their scale is, but we can have Nadine look at that and say, yeah, it's now compliant. Or it's not.
I think I have other questions, but they're not fully formed yet, so I don't know if any other questions.
So he just texted back. He said it meets all truck parking turnaround requirements.
That's not.
We're not talking about turnaround, we're talking about the delivery area. So it's not the
All-
turnaround
all
issue.
truck-
Yeah, it's the
No, he
code.
said all truck parking turnaround requirements.
Understood. What we're trying to say is, we're not asking about the turnaround. We want to make sure that there is 70 feet by, what is it, 14?
And originally they had it wider, but it was the depth that we were.
Yeah, the width is fine. I'm sure the width is fine, because
Is this? I'm sorry. Is this new
no,
information
this-
from?
No, this has been a question from the beginning, Brad. So,
Okay.
yeah,
It's in our engineering.
I know you
notes.
guys are saying that you're going to get bobtails. We're asking it to be planned for larger trucks. So, because I don't know that you can guarantee they're only going to be bobtails or box trucks, so. And as long as that's 70 feet, you have what you need. I don't think we need to belabor it right now. We just need confirmation from your engineer to us that the dimensions of that area, not counting the ADA spot.
Aaron,
Yeah.
what are the dates of those letters from Nadine, so they can refer to them?
Two, let's see, we have two. We can also send like a letter to them. So the June 29th, 2023. And I believe the one,
So this was in Nadine's review in June.
this was in the, yeah, the June 29th review. I also think she brought it up in another one, but I can't.
She may have brought it up directly to them. She has not
Oh.
done a review for us since June.
Okay,
Yeah,
So-
I can confirm that he designed it in response to that.
Yep.
So,
We just need to actually
And-
see the dimensions. That's all. That's all we need to see. It's not that, you know, it's just because there's nothing there to scale it out with. So that's all we need. I think it's much simpler than, because I believe you have it. We just
I
need.
think that
confirmation.
links is in one of the submissions. I recall seeing it. There have been so many, I can't remember which one,
Right.
but it's.
I mean, it would help if on the final site plan, it just called out the dimensions of that.
Put the
Truck.
number on.
Just put the number on the map. And then we'll be good.
Okay.
The 14-foot clearance above, you absolutely have. There's nothing there.
There's clouds.
And you clearly have the width. It's just the depth that we need to just be sure is the 70 feet. Michael? Anything?
So one thing I'm still concerned about is traffic. And I don't know if we need to do it as part of the EEO or as the planning board should do it, but I think we need a traffic study. And I'm concerned in particular about traffic at the light during peak times. And I know one thing that came about in one of the comments was, and this is for the board, not for the applicant, does it make sense to have scenic be one way so that we don't have traffic?
That's not a part of this. And actually, I'm going to bring that to us in September.
Great. So I am curious, like what happens if there's an event and 57 cars get off on the main street and head to the light at the same time? Is that going to create a whole issue? So I don't know if we want to look at a traffic study, see if there's a way that we can work with the applicant. If they have events, they have to have some kind of traffic management process, but just so that we don't dump 50 cars on the main street.
Well, so do you guys want to respond? Because I'm happy to state my opinion on that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, we're not engineers, but the county planner has, a fair amount of authority around these things, and I liked their suggestions from the Gateway meeting around, crosswalks and stop signs and potentially speed bumps, and I like that also just because it'll, make towpath and the post office just generally safer. But for sure, we'll take any suggestions when it comes to traffic safety, but they seemed pretty zeroed in on all of the public safety concerns. So I would sort of default to what their recommendations have been. It's also not up to us what they do with the road, but yeah, curious what you think, Mike.
Mike, this is Mike Moriello. I think too, Nadine, to my knowledge, Nadine talked directly with Dennis Larios and with Alan. And I don't believe that she thinks that a traffic study is necessary. And I think that was determined quite a while ago in conversations with Nadine and also with the board. I thought too that there was, traffic study was not going to be of limited utility, especially because of the size of this project.
So they did submit a traffic report based on the numbers from that they got from the county and from the DOT for traffic counts of those. Nadine, our consultant, did review them, did not think it rose to the level of needing a study. Quite frankly, they're both Main Street and granted our county roads. An increase of 20 or 30 cars does not rise to the level of significant impact in my experience.
Can we just back up, Mike, for the board and myself? this has come up a lot in a lot of the public comments, and I just wanna, like, I've never seen a traffic study, so
Oh, they submitted it.
what, no,
real-
I mean a traffic study, not the traffic count report. What does a traffic study do?
So,
Like of the bigger one?
yep, so on a bigger traffic study, a consultant would take the current counts that were available to them, or
Which are
they,
the same ones that.
which are the same ones that were, because we had the fortune of both of these being county roads, we had very recent numbers. Also towpath, because of the work that they did on that small bridge further down towpath, they had very recent numbers of towpath. They take those, this is very similar to when the planning board, and I know none of you were on the planning board, reviewed Crested Hen. The same assertion was made. It was reviewed by the town's consultant, who came back and said, this does not warrant traffic study because the increase is not going to rise to a significant level. Now, if it was a big shopping mall on 209, that might be a different story, but
So what does it, what would a traffic study?
what traffic
advise?
study would do is predict the numbers based on the proposal and the existing numbers. It would predict an increase. My point is, we've had Nadine review this already. She did not believe it warranted a further study because the increase in the numbers did not rise it to the level of this.
In Nadine's, or Scott's, one of them, in one of their early reviews, they said that it's needed when you're likely to generate more than 500 trip ends per day.
Because the traffic study looks at whether or not the actual road can handle that amount of traffic. It's not, what are there other concerns that a traffic study would look at other than the road?
Possibly speed, but they are proposing, and again, as they've said, it's out of their control. But that three-way stop sign, and I will tell you, based on the letters we've gotten, I plan to, at the September board meeting, ask that whether this project moves forward or not, that we turn that intersection into a three-way stop sign. Our highway superintendent has already agreed to put one at towpath and Main Street. We would go to the county and ask them, even if this project doesn't go forward, what it will do is slow traffic down on
So-
Main Street.
I just still want to make sure that I understand what a traffic study is. So that it doesn't, what would the impact of if say it was a project that was what then you would send that to the county and see if they would do
No,
anything about it? Or
No, so.
what would the impact?
So
of
the engineer would propose mitigating measures. We as a board would then determine what those mitigating measures were. If we went to the county if it involved the county road, then yes, we would go to the county. If it involved the town road, we'd go to the town highway superintendent. If it involved changing an access, you can't predict what the mitigating measures are until you look at that specific situation. But as Mary Lou said, it doesn't rise to the level of the next level of impact until you reach 500 trip ends a day.
And it's also, or if there are specific traffic issues. You have specific traffic issues that you think might occur that you'd like them to look at. And then say, okay, here's what the traffic study shows, we're gonna be fine. Or here's what we need you to do to mitigate. Or this is just horrific and we can't possibly do this. It's another.
Yeah, and maybe we don't need a traffic study, but my biggest concern is the large volume of people exiting at a single time. So what I don't know is if we can say, if you have an event, like what happens if you have 50 cars going down Main Street, they stop at the light, the firehouse right there, the truck's gonna be able to get out, or people can, is that gonna create a log jam is my concern.
Well-
Those peak use times where people are not gonna be able to move around town.
Understood, but do we know the realistic situation of that occurring? I mean, I'm playing a little devil's advocate. It's the same thing that happens when the racetrack gets over.
Yeah, but there's a light there that only lets X amount of
Right,
cars.
but the light is 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So, but your point is valid, but I mean, their uses are an inn, a restaurant, you know, occasionally they're going to have an event, but this is,
They can have an event.
Yeah. they're gonna
Well,
have
Whatever they
every
want.
night of the
and
week.
we can also put conditions on
I
it.
guess that's what I'm asking, like maybe it is, if there's an event, you know, they direct traffic down Grand. 44, 55, or something. That's what I'm asking. That's all.
And I think the stop signs, which they propose, is a good mitigation measure
Slows-
because it
slows
slows the traffic down. If everybody pulling out has to stop at that stop sign, it's going to put a gap between vehicles. You know, you're not gonna have a stream of car after car after car after car. And not everybody's gonna go that way. Some people are gonna go Grand, some people are gonna go the other way on Topaz.
Okay.
My own feeling is that making them do well, to start with, what they presented.
I'm not saying I want traffic
Yeah,
study. I'm just
okay,
saying
yeah.
I'm concerned about this issue. Is traffic study the right way to address that? Is it some other way?
But what they did send was a traffic study. It's
So
a
it's a
matter of,
traffic count,
It's a traffic count.
yeah,
not a traffic study.
okay.
I'm in agreement that we should do a traffic study. I know at one of the earlier meetings, one of the first few presentations that they gave us. I can't tell you exactly which date now, but I know that we said we would take a traffic count, but we still might require a traffic study be done on this. I think that we should, that it's impactful, especially if it's gonna have events like weddings and reunions potentially there. I'm concerned for the same reason Michael is, those events, most people all leave at the same time, it can create a very large backup, and the difference between this and the racetrack is the racetrack does not have a firehouse on that road that could be blocked for emergency access after, if there is a traffic problem created. So I would be in favor of asking for a traffic study to be done.
Okay, if you do, you just have to let them know what you want them to study.
Well, did get the
You
impact.
have to let them know the scope.
It's four-way, or three-way stop, it's not guaranteed, correct? We still need to ask.
not.
the-
It's not, but what, you know, like I said, I plan to, at the September meeting, ask you to let me ask the county for it right now, whether this happens or not, because mostly to slow traffic down on Main Street. Because we've all watched how fast people drive down Main Street.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I understand that'll help slow it down at this end of Main Street, but still at the start of Main Street, like you said, it's a 2-mile stretch, almost like it's. I just think a traffic study on the exact impacts, if these stops are not put there, what the impact would be with or without them,
Okay.
to understand what could potentially happen to a road, that there are residences, there are businesses, people are gonna be walking across the street from the municipal lot with at least 6 cars being used and 6 spots in the municipal lot being used, there's people who walk across there, so. And also, there's a potential that a bike path gets extended. There's gonna be more than just traffic, there's gonna be foot traffic, there's gonna be bicycle traffic, so. I personally think it's important that we make sure that's studied and we understand.
So can-
the aspect of it.
Can I ask a question? So if we did a traffic study, what do you anticipate the mitigation measure would be? And I know I'm not trying, you're not an engineer. What do you anticipate would be different that would change it?
Well, there might be a crosswalk put in down by the firehouse.
County will not do it.
And we had a traffic study to show and ask the county to show.
We asked, when the market was reviewed, the county came back and said they will not do a cross. They will only do crosswalks where there is a signalized intersection, whether it be a light or a stop sign. They will not
We
do.
had- we had the gateway meeting and that included the, like, I was for the county.
DPW was there.
Yeah, and everything that you see that's on our site plan is what they came up with. That was
Yeah.
not our,
And I want to be clear, I'm not saying definitively I want a traffic study. I want to consider mitigations for large events that would have, you know, excess of 50 cars that you're on the street at the same time.
Yeah, I would just say this is all, they brought all this stuff up in the meeting and it's not, they don't have an independent approach. Their concern is your concern. It's the public interest. They're not trying to balance like economic development with, safety. And I think that everything that they've proposed, if it was just shared with everybody, is pretty robust and is going to make the town significantly safer than it is today. We're fortunate in that, you know, we are at the intersection of 3 roads, and I'm not saying that, you know, of our 50 odd spots, 18 people are going to peel off in, you know, one of the 3 directions, but it's also unlikely that every single car is going to be going down Main Street and it's just going to become a sea of cars. I don't think that would be kind of a rogue event.
Okay.
I mean, it is, I understand the traffic count, and there isn't a lot of commercial activity currently in the area. This will have, in terms of what's already there, you know, 500 cars would be bonkers. But so we're still looking at like a 67 to 70% increase over like what's there, which is, if it doesn't rise to the level of triggering a traffic study traditionally, it's still going to have an impact on the flow. Because we currently don't have anything on a regular basis that will have this draw of traffic. So I think that's just our concern is like, are we qualified to be making those decisions without having our own, like, and I don't know what the scope of what Nadine's looking at, if we could maybe request that Nadine address these concerns that we have specifically to the board. We could say, hey, could you please address these with this project for us so that we can see what the thought behind that is. Because we weren't, the town board members were not part of the Gateway meeting, and they were not recorded, and there's like no minutes. So we, you know, we didn't get that
Understood.
perspective.
Right, but you can believe me or not, I was there, and this is that crosswalks and stop signs is what the DPW came up with. So, and the discussion, now at the time, the parking area was not as developed as it is, but it was still more in a ground level stage, but you know, we're probably what, 7 or 8 more spots than we were.
Hi, everybody. Listen, Alan is trying to join right now. He's outside somewhere, so
He's there on his iPhone.
He's on.
Hey, Alan.
Hi, Alan.
I don't think he's connected to audio yet.
Alan?
Waiting for that.
You have another one.
Yeah. Another good point that was raised that actually came up from me last night as I was driving home. The fence that is blocking off the section on towpath. I think that should be something that occludes the light. So you don't potentially, when people turn in there and you could possibly have 2 sets of headlights coming out. Happened to me last night, very disappointing. So I think something other than, post and beam or whatever they call the little 3-post things. Something that's going to cut down that headlight, so headlight traffic is not coming at you potentially from towpath and along the parking lot if you're driving towpath towards Minnewaska. So I think that's just something from a design perspective.
Yeah.
There.
We can put that into any recommendation to the height of that fence.
Yeah. I think another good point I saw is I just want to make sure we're following the EEO regulations. So something like wells and septics on fronting properties, just add those into the maps if they haven't been added in the recent version. And personally, if we're gonna do spots.
EEO code. Oh, I knew somebody was gonna ask this question.
And then the other thing, and this is more for the board, I think we should discuss with the applicants if municipal spots are going to be permanently utilized, that there's some kind of fee for the town or something to help with maintenance.
We would have an agreement.
Yeah. Okay. Those are the
Prior to any final.
main things I had.
So our engineer Alan tried to.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's coming in.
Oh, there he is now.
Yep.
I would like to defer back to Nadine as like she is the town engineer. I mean, the back to the subject of a traffic study. I mean, this is something that we discussed months and months and months ago. And nothing's really changed much on our end that would reflect having to revisit that. So I would just ask if you could like let me know like what's different now than several months ago that
Well, so
Nadine's view of this has changed or rather your perspective.
So a question for the board members. If we specifically ask Nadine to review that and to determine if there are any additional mitigation measures that can be done.
Yeah.
My feeling is we can ask them to do a traffic study, but at the end of the day, what's the purpose of it if we don't know what we're gonna, I don't think it's gonna tell us anything that we don't already know. We know there's 57, whatever the number of parking spots is. We know there's that many spots. You know, yes, we're hearing from people that there's going to be traffic, but to many of the public, an increase of 5 cars is an increase in traffic, whereas on a bigger scale, that's not an increase.
50 is an increase.
Yeah, 50 is an increase, technically 63, with the municipal law. I think just backing off of what Aaron's point earlier, we weren't at that meeting, we never saw the traffic counts ourselves, we were not at the Gateway meeting, it's the same idea behind, it looks on the map that truck turnaround is 70 feet, but we don't know that exactly unless it's written down and shown to us with exact detail, so we have not seen that, so that's one.
But yes, you have. You got, everybody on the board
We
got
got the
traffic
counts from
counts from the applicant.
Yeah.
It's part of, that was not at the Gateway meeting.
That was prior to the Gateway meeting.
Okay. But you did see all those.
So speaking for myself, I would be, that would be acceptable, an acceptable step, and then depending on what she comes back with. Sets.
My feeling is if we're gonna ask them to do something, we need to know what we're gonna do with the outcome. And
Especially if nothing's changed in terms of our project that much since the initial her weighing in initially, what more are we asking her? I get that's what I'd like to understand because
Ren, if I could just maybe address your question. For me, what has changed is my understanding of this process, and we asked our lawyer at the last meeting, hey, if the planning board thought the traffic was going to be an issue, could they ask for a traffic study? And the answer was no. So I think we feel like if we want to address this, because this is the last chance to address it. So I think you're just seeing the board processing all of this and making sure that we are doing our due diligence with the input that we've gotten from the public, with the public hearing that has closed, because your project has changed a little bit, but we literally just closed the public hearing tonight. So we just have to do, like, that was the input for us. Our job is to both look at your project and the impact on the community and make the decisions that we think are the best. So that's, nothing's changed. That's just where we're at. I'm just letting you know that we're all like, okay, now that we're at this stage, is there anything else that we haven't asked for that we need to in order to make the decision? That's all. That's where.
Can I suggest, guys, while we have
hang
Alan,
on, Henry, let's let Mary speak here.
Sure.
Is it fair to say, from what I'm hearing from the board, that one thing that has changed is you've had the public hearings and you've heard those concerns. So that, although the project may not have changed much, that's why we have public hearings.
Right.
Right. But I mean,
And
even
this is something that we can do through Nadine. And then you can decide if you want anything further, but you can ask the specific concerns of Nadine, because it is something, under seeker that you can have your own consultants.
And that's what I just want to echo what you're saying, because I want to have specific questions for Nadine. Because my understanding is that she's happy with everything that we've given her thus far. And if that anything had come up, and because she's a pro, I think that she would have called us on it. And raised concerns, and I haven't seen those from her yet. So
Speaking
So-
of professional engineers,
guys,
should we
guys,
while we
if I-
have Alan?
Guys,
Maybe-
if I could interrupt you, and I'm gonna make a resolution that we specifically request Peak Engineering to review the traffic counts that were submitted against the current site plan and to identify any possible mitigation measures for traffic flow.
And I think you should include in there, given the firehouse, the 209 intersection.
And ask her to have
Whether
it,
she feels that mitigations are needed or.
ask her to have it back to us by the end of next.
Sounds great.
I'll send it to her tomorrow.
Okay.
A second.
You second? Any further discussion? Okay. I'm also gonna ask her at the same time to review this latest submission.
Great.
So,
Mike, can I just
hang on, guys, hang on. We're in the middle of a resolution and a vote here, so
all right.
thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, we're gonna send it to Nadine as it is, ask her to review it. We're not asking you for any further information at this time. We're just gonna ask her to review it. We're gonna ask her for an answer by next Friday.
Okay,
Depending on what her answer is, we'll go from there.
sounds
I
good.
think that will address the board's concerns. It may or may not change anything with you. But it will give the board more of a comfort level in terms of it being specifically reviewed.
Thank you.
You said that number was 500 trips that triggers the traffic study, right? I just wanted to.
It's not that what triggers it, that's what's considered a significant.
Under the seeker guide. They say if you're gonna have 500
That's in
extra
their count.
trips a day,
There's 500, there's a 99% increase of total trips on Towpath Road and a 68%. That's almost 500 as well on Main Street. In their counts.
In a 24-hour period.
It's under Article 4, traffic increase from project total trips.
Okay. So we'll ask her to review that and then we'll get answers.
moving on.
Okay. Charlotte, any other concerns?
No, I think Aaron and Michael and yourself have got all
Okay.
the other concerns I had.
Mike,
Yes.
sorry, just because we do have Alan on the phone.
Yep.
Or on the Zoom, perhaps we can we can just dig back into the truck turnaround parking.
Sure. I think we still would like to see it in dimensioned out in a drawing somewhere, but sure, absolutely.
Alan?
There's also the multiple entrances on towpath issue for Alan.
Hello, it's Alan. I'm here.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, hi, everyone.
So there are two issues that if you could weigh in on. The first is, and this is not necessarily the first time it's been brought up, is the free entrances off of towpath. There is concern of the through traffic potential that what it may lead to. What I'm asking for is that the one that comes off to the 4 parking spots that are employee parking be limited in A, that the opening be closed down, and that B, that it be either a gate or a chain or somehow be closed off to the general public, because I am, even with signage, people don't read signs. People are gonna come down from Main Street and they're gonna just see that first entrance and they're gonna pull in. Especially if it's
Can
as
you-
wide as it is.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
So I think we can look at that. I mean, putting a gate on a fence, it's not a big deal. You're going to basically regulate channelized traffic. So it's basically employees only. We were trying to reutilize existing parking in that area to handle the employee parking and to handle back of house operations. So I think we can look at it, and I think we could probably come up with a solution that we'd be happy with.
Okay. And then, you know, and closing it down too, so the opening, I understand right now it's probably the width of Tobacco Road, but closing it down so it's just a one in, one out kind of thing, that it's not quite as wide open. And then if that is impeded, some sort of signage that would say, you know, where the actual entrance is.
Yeah, and we can do, you know, our plan was when we get to the planning board phase that we would do a full on-site traffic plan showing vehicle movements with signage and signage details.
think we're gonna-
So we can do what we can do, you know, we can do whatever's needed as far as traffic plan on site and signage.
I think we're gonna need that answer for that one though, for the access at the town board level, because
Okay,
we're determining where the access is to the site. And so I think we need that answer, we need sooner rather than later.
okay, we can develop an on-site traffic movement plan with
That would be
signage
great.
details that we can do.
That would be great. The other question that came up was the depth of the truck parking area, where the two ADA spots are. I personally believe you have 70 feet in length, not counting the ADA spot, but can you just verify? Nothing we have is, are we able to sort of scale?
I've covered this at a couple meetings and I've covered it in writing a couple times. What we've done is we've designed the truck unloading, the truck movements around what would be a semi, you know, tractor trailer arrangement that would be a tractor unit, meaning the truck unit, with a day cab, not an overnight cab, with a single, you know, typically a single axle, you know, pup trailer, basically, which is the reduced length semi trailer, not a full 53 footer. And I showed that right in the plan. So there's a 40-foot wheelbase vehicle would be like which would be your worst case scenario as far as a semi tractor trailer, reduced trailer length, which is typically what you would see from a company like US Foods or Cisco, and would handle that down to a box truck, down to a van. It is not designed around a full, you know, 75-foot long, you know, overnight cab unit, dual rear axle, 53-foot box, because we're not expecting those at the site. We're not planning those at the site, and we're not going to be using suppliers that are going to be bringing those to the site, so that's why we designed it the way we showed it. And we've done this with other. We've done this with other.
So Alan, the only question
Yep.
we're asking is it compliant with our code?
Because the
It-
code says.
Code says 70 feet by 14 feet by 14 feet high clearance.
I can go. You know, I'm not in the office.
I
now.
believe it is. I believe
So
it
I
is.
can, you know, I can obviously, you know, go into CAD and PDF and basically verify all those measurements. I just can't do it
Okay.
right now because I'm not in my office. I'm not in front of a plan set.
No problem.
Alan, if you could put the measurements on the map, that would be helpful.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble understanding you.
If you could put the measurements directly on the map, that would be helpful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
I
So
believe
you want
have
to,
it.
you basically want to be able to see everything dimensioned on the plan so you can see what we got.
That particular
piece,
we would like that to be compliant with our code, and our code is.
Okay. Because
We
what I
would like
made it a
that to
point of,
be-
what I made it a point of doing was in writing, basically, you know, via, you know, text I wrote showing, here's how we're doing it, number one. Number two, showing a sample vehicle on the plan. And then number three, showing the vehicle movements. I can take it to the next level, which is to basically add dimensions shown on the plans as opposed to someone having to pull out a scale and check the measurements.
Yeah, so just the feedback we got from our engineer is that this needs to be compliant with our code, and it's a dimensional compliance. We would also like that to not include the ADA parking spots. We would like.
Understood. And that's why if you look at the last two versions versus the 3 versions ago, you'll see that turnaround area in front of the granary is
Yep.
significantly longer than it used to be.
Yeah.
So you know,
Wanna make sure
Nadine and I can put our heads together and make sure
Yeah.
we as
We-
Bernier and Larios and the project sponsor give you an adequate response.
We're not saying it's not. We're just saying we want to see the dimensions on the plan so the board can put their eyes on it and say it meets our code. And as I
Understood.
said before, I believe it does.
And if we
So-
got to tweak it, a little, a little bit to make sure that it's clear.
Nay, I don't know that you'll need to.
Understood.
If the granary building is actually 75 feet long, which is what Ren thought it is, I believe you're fine.
Once again, I'm not in front of my computer. I'm not
No
in my
problem.
office. I'm not even at home, but I think Ren's number of it's about 75 feet long sounds about right just from picturing it in my mind. I think you're in general agreement with that too.
Yep, it's 75.
Any other questions? If
For
not,
Alan, especially.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off if that's okay with you
hang
guys.
on. Any other
Alan.
questions for Alan? Going once, going twice? Okay. What I,
Alan.
thank you, Alan.
Everybody
Jumping
have a
on.
wonderful evening. Good to talk to you.
So, what I would
Bye-bye.
like us to do now, Mary Lou is gonna need some time to draft the part two, based on all the documents. We did at one time, back in April, I believe, go through part two, with the exception of 2 questions that we didn't have the information yet. We now have all the information. I did print out the seeker part 2, but we just got a new one, so you'll have to refer to the ones in your packet. What I have is a blank part 2. I'd like us to go through it tonight. Not take any votes
As a draft.
as a draft, but come to an agreement that this is the document then that Mary Lou should work from, draft our part 2, which I'm gonna ask her to come back to our September meeting with a draft for the board to consider.
You guys are gonna be sitting. We're also having to sing you a couple of
We used to be in person.
all the time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
And so we're kind of done with,
we're kind of
Back
done
and
with them.
forth.
Yeah, we're done with,
Okay.
we're done with you guys for now. And if I could ask, while we're reviewing this, this is our board time. You're perfectly welcome to stay and listen, and as a matter of fact, we would welcome. But now is the time for the board to discuss these and
Mike, I have a quick question.
yes, sir.
If there's been a submission and kind of the public comment that references something that I have said that is not true, do I need to correct it, or is it just kind of free speech?
Oh, no.
So the short answer is public comment. The public can essentially say pretty much anything they like to say. I mean, whether to get a little on a tangent, if it rose to the level of slander, you could certainly consider a civil action against somebody. But just because somebody said something, every comment made on the record doesn't need to be corrected, in my opinion. Mary Lou can agree or disagree.
And the board gets to evaluate comments made and determine what's accurate. It doesn't mean you can't correct if you feel that something was mentioned in error or stated in error. You could certainly write a letter to the town board to make that part of the record, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm not looking to be high drama around it. I don't want to waste everyone's time. I just, there was, basically a conversation that I had was mischaracterized, and including a few specific statements that I did not make. And I may write a letter. I don't need to I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to, or it stood as somehow factual.
I would talk to Mr. Oriello about that and get his advice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest, at this point, the fewer submittals coming back, if we get more submittals,
Yep.
then we potentially rise to the level of having to reopen the public hearing. I mean, what we asked you for tonight is clarification. So that's different. You're not making substantial change. You're clarifying questions that we have. If you're going to start introducing more items into the record, then potentially, depending on what that is, we would have to reopen the public hearing. So
Nope,
I
was just
Mary Lou's
clarifying.
Mary Lou's advisement to talk to Mike is probably the best advice.
Great. All right, thanks so much.
Okay, so the first question is impact on land. The proposed action may, and it tells you which part of this that it corresponds to. And if we need to look at examples, I can pull it up on the screen. So part 1D1 is what this pertains to. Proposed act may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. I think we can all agree on yes. So what we will do is read through all the ones underneath and say either no or small impact or moderate to large impact. Proposed action may involve construction on land where depth to water table is less than 3 feet. That is a no. May involve construction on slopes 15% or greater. No. Construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 feet of the existing ground surface.
Let's look at E2A and C.
Yeah, I have, yep, I have walked the site and there may be small protrusions, but it's relatively small. It's that I can get you one parcel.
Yeah.
It says, are there bedrock outcroppings on the project site?
Oh, yeah, it's in
It says
actually,
the average depth varies, are the bedrock outcroppings on the project site? Yes. And what proportion of the site is comprised of bedrock outcroppings? 5%.
so based on that, I would say small or no.
Okay, I'm sorry, what page were you on with that?
They're on
The
part
EAF
one, page 11.
Page 11.
11 and 13, yeah.
Oh, there it is. E2.
Yep.
So it's 5% of the total. Property.
Okay.
So we'd say no or small. Excavation and removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. They are not proposing to remove any material. Construction that continues for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. The only construction is actually the parking area. The rest is internal.
Right,
buildings.
that's-
So it would be no or small. And the septic.
In their answers on page 3, multiple phases, no, if no anticipated period of construction, 24 months.
Oh. Well,
I was gonna say, do we not count interior construction? If this only.
this is impact on land. So the
Um,
answer would be no.
So if the answer is yes, maybe just then we.
Is
But the
24
24
hours
months, my guess is includes the entire-
small, or is that moderate to large?
except the 24 months could include the interior.
But we don't.
Okay, does the proposed action include any non-residential construction, including expansions? They have, yes, existing structure.
It's interior work that's being done to build. It's strong. My opinion is no or small.
I mean,
Based
24
on-
months could still be considered small when you consider what they're doing.
Plus, based on the land impact, and which is the section we're under. I believe it's within 1 year.
Yeah.
I'm open to whatever other people's opinions are.
I think that makes sense. Excavating land for a year.
I would believe so. Okay. So are we all okay with no or small? Okay. Proposed action may result in increased erosion, whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal, including from treatment by herbicides. That is in B2E, B2Q. There is no B2Q. Oh, yes, there is. Page 8. So Q is a no. And E is on page 7. No, I'm sorry, it's on page 6.
Page 6.
It's a yes.
It's a no.
E is a yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, now Q is a no, but E is a yes. It's half an acre of impervious surface. And they are proposing to collect, and they will have to do silt fencing along the area that they're gonna be digging up there, so. I would characterize as no or small. Would everybody else agree with that?
And then we would just make a note that they have to do the silt fencing.
Yeah, we could make that a condition, or we can along the adjacent property there, since the parking area is so close.
Yeah.
We can
Guys,
make-
this is, excuse me, it's Mike Moriello. One thing, remember, we can't have a conditional neg deck. If we go to a negative declaration on this, can't have a conditional neg deck for type 1 action. So whatever mitigation measures, are arrived at, we have to arrive at them voluntarily through the give and take with the board, but we can't condition the neg deck on anything. If it indeed is a neg deck, that hasn't been decided yet. But thank you.
But conditions could be put in the approval to mitigate, correct?
You can put conditions in the approval, but they can't be mitigation for.
Okay,
Saying no.
understood.
Yeah, we're not saying no because there will be silt fencing. We're saying small impact.
We're saying
Right.
small impact as it is, but just a note to ourselves that we can require silt fencing. I mean, I don't think that this rises to the level of large or moderate to large. Does anybody else believe it rises to that level?
About half an acre.
Yeah, okay.
And it's not gonna be going.
So we're gonna say small or no.
I have a question though, in their part 1, which they fill out,
Mhm.
it says they will have on-site stormwater management facilities in the EAF, so.
Right. But it could still be a small impact on our
And that
part.
can be what makes it a small impact.
Right. But do we have to write that into the decision to ensure that happens, or is it having it in the EAF mean that they're going to do it?
We could write it into the final decision because it's in the EAF. It's not, all right.
Yeah, I understand. I just wanna,
Yeah. Just because they're addressing something doesn't make it rise to the level of large, unless we thought, if it was 3 acres of disturbance on a 7-acre parcel, then we could say it was moderate to large, but a half acre of disturbance is on a 7.2 acre property is 7% of the property. So. It is definitely not within a coastal erosion hazard area. Are there any other non-listed land actions that anybody thinks need to be addressed or that are not in these questions. I don't believe there's any involving land. There might be in some of the other categories. Is everybody okay if we check no or small? Geological features. Proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique, unusual landforms, cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, caves. I think we can safely say no. There are none of those on the site that we are aware of. Impacts on surface water. Proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. There are no wetlands nearby. And the Rondout is the closest, but I think it would be hard pressed to get stormwater runoff from this property into the Rondout. I mean,
Yeah, and we don't have a distance guide.
you're basically not looking at like,
Right.
but considering it would have to cross a roadway. The closest point would be at the Scenic Road and
Right.
Granite Road intersection.
Yeah, I'm just reviewing the questions. It doesn't seem like, it seems like it would be no on that.
Is everybody in agreement on that? Impact on groundwater. May result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants, to groundwater or an aquifer. So they are drilling are they drilling a new well?
I think it depends. I think they have one.
Michael, I hate to impose on you. Do you know if there's a new well being drilled? I don't remember.
I don't believe so. There was talk about it, but I think they have the water they need in terms of volume right now.
Yeah, I don't see one on
the sports site.
I don't see one on the site plan.
One by the Sears house.
That's existing, right?
It will
Sears house.
definitely result in new use of groundwater. Nothing has been happening at that site for 50 years, so.
Okay, so let's say yes, and we'll work our way through the question. May require new water well supplies or create additional demand on supplies from existing water well supplies. So,
Yes.
but do we consider it a small impact?
I think it's moderate.
I think it's moderate.
Okay, it is, so the uses that would require water are the restaurant and the rooms within the, yeah,
The house.
yeah.
Would they say 3,000 gallons a day? Is that the?
Just look it up, it's gotta be in here. D2C,
3,759. Oh, no, that's the waste. Yeah, that's water usage, 3,759 gallons a day.
I think we consider that moderate in our code.
Well, that would be.
That's the next question. Wastewater is the next.
yeah.
I'm saying that's
It's
the, it
further
says
down.
it's a C.
No, D2C is
3,700.
increased anticipated water usage demand per day,
Yeah.
up to 3,759. I'd say, okay, let's classify that as moderate. Water supply demand may exceed safe and sustainable withdrawal capacity of the local supplier aquifer. I think
That's
that is
no.
a no. The proposed action may allow or result in residential uses in areas without water. That is a no.
Wait, what? The proposed action may result.
In a residential use that has no water or sewer.
Oh.
They have both. So, proposed action may include or require wastewater discharge to groundwater. It is, but it is reviewed by the Board of Health. It's not going to exceed what they allow. I would say it's a small impact. Because of the Board of Health approval.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, they're.
They're not-
septic.
No, they're not doing this, wastewater treatment facility, so they're not discharging.
Oh, okay, so that is a no. Okay. Proposed action may result in the construction of water supply wells in locations where groundwater is or is suspected to be contaminated.
No.
No. Because they've already done their test holes. Require the bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products over groundwater or an aquifer. No. Proposed action may involve the commercial application of pesticides.
No.
They have said no. Other impacts? If it's a no, then there's no answer. If it's a small, then we need to identify. I believe it to be a no.
I mean, the only thing is, we haven't seen where the other wells are on the property. It's gonna be, the septic is gonna be on the property. We know the hamlet's already.
How about we consider it a small impact then and say other impacts, location of new septic and reserve area
In relationship
in
to,
relationship. So for other impacts, we're gonna write location of septic and reserve area in relation to neighboring properties? Is that okay?
I mean, I don't know how to categorize that, because we don't know, if it did impact those properties, that would be moderate.
Yeah, except the health department has to give them the approval for it, and they're gonna review it. So that's why I think it's a small one. That's my opinion. I mean, any septic system could impact neighbors at any time, but it's designed to follow, and it's a new system, so it's getting a new approval and it's going through. And that's their job. I think we consider their permit as being the allowing factor.
Right.
If it wasn't proper, they wouldn't allow it. They would say you need an above ground system.
Right.
Everybody's okay with small or no? Okay. Flooding, it's not in the floodplain. So can we all agree that it's a no? Impacts on air. That is a no. Impacts on plant and animals, they did check with the DEC, who did send us a letter. And actually, I copied it for you, where they said there were no endangered species. On for reference. State listed species at the bottom of page 2. Continuing on to page 3.
I was gonna see, because this is. If there's. They are clearing trees. I just want to check this.
Are they clearing trees or is that clear? That area is clear already. I mean, they are removing the one house. one structure is coming in.
Two, and I'm just checking the reference. Okay,
So is everybody okay with the no?
yeah,
I am, I don't know.
8, impact on agricultural resources. It's not in a state certified ag district, so. No. 9, aesthetic. Land use are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and the scenic or aesthetic resources. I would say yes. Everybody agree with that? May be visible from any officially designated federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resources. It is a federally designated.
Yeah, that's okay.
So I think we say no or small.
No.
It's no.
no, well. Yes.
It's no or small.
But
It's just no or small. It's not. It's not like you're looking down off of the 4455 view shed and seeing this massive structure. I thought it's about what we sort of. The situation or activity in which viewers are engaged while viewing the proposed action is. Can we agree these are small though? Small impacts. May cause a diminishment of the public enjoyment and appreciation of the designated aesthetic resource.
I would,
It's opinion,
the aesthetic resource being that property.
the building and the property.
Yeah.
I
would say
think
that's
it's gonna-
no.
No or small.
No one's enjoying the free.
No, the aesthetic resource is whatever it be diminished.
Right.
Wait,
Like the aesthetic resource is the building, right?
Oh, you're right.
It's saying the building would like ruin
Yeah.
the view.
So are we in agreement
I think
on
it's-
no or small? I think that's a no, and I think other impacts is also a no. Here's where we get into historical and archaeological. I've got the letters from state for you here.
That's fine. I've done that with that one.
And here's the other letter from the state. But one dealt with the structure itself and the other letter dealt with the archaeological resources. In the one, I guess they're both dated April 6th, but the one that deals with, the one that's one page and has the signature at the bottom, the second paragraph, they talk about the archaeological resources. And then on the other one, the second paragraph is and they are actually applying to state historic preservation for federal tax credits for the redesign, not redesign, but the rehabilitation of the buildings. So 10 is definitely a yes, because it is adjacent or it is actually in a historic district. So A,
Here, let me read to you what they give for guidance from the DEC.
yeah,
For A small impact could occur if there's no historic or archaeological resource on the site, but there may be small impact to community character because of concerns over consistency with existing architectural. That one's not going to apply. Two, there are historic or archaeological resources on the site, but the project design is such that no disturbances or major changes to historic structures will occur. For example, the location where archaeological resources exist will be avoided, or the historic structure on the property will be maintained and restored, which I think that's what
they're
you have
proposing.
here.
Yeah.
So that would be small.
Everybody
Impact.
agree on that? Small impact?
Yeah.
So they're just restoring the original. They're not knocking down or changing. The archaeological is a no, according to SHPO. The same with letter C. Would you agree with that? It's a no. Other impacts. We could address it as a small to moderate, no to small, and just say rehabilitation of historic structures. It is an impact. I mean, I think it's a small impact, but it is an impact. Are people okay with that?
Yeah, I think, yeah. because if
We're
it's-
acknowledging it at least. It does, seeker doesn't always have to be a negative. In this case, it's positive.
Or,
Well, in theory, it's positive.
I mean, but a positive secret is not good.
Good point. So
I know. Secret Jones.
I always tell people, we're positive it's gonna have an impact. That's what a positive is.
Whoa, everybody. Easy on
Rehabilitate.
the secret. Thursday.
Rehabilitate, okay, yeah, I did spell rehabilitation.
Yeah, fine. I just think-
Okay, if any of the A through E are answered moderate and none were, so we don't have to answer E. Impact on open space and recreation may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction in any open space resource. We agree that's a no? Okay. Impact on critical environmental area, we don't have any. Yeah. 2 years from now, my last meeting. Impact on transportation, yes. Proposed traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing road network.
I think it's moderate.
Okay. Proposed action may result in the construction of paved parking area for 500 or more vehicles. That is a no. Will degrade existing transit access. There is no. Maybe someday there will be. Pedestrian or bicycle accommodations. Present pattern of movement of people or goods.
Moderate.
Moderate, okay. Other impacts?
I don't know if we want to highlight the entrances on towpath as a possible concern.
That would alter.
Yeah. The only thing we could possibly add here is potential queuing of vehicles at the 209 Main Street traffic light.
Let's do that.
Would you want to include that in other impacts? But we'd use the word potential.
And this is a
What are you saying?
draft, so you can see what Nadine has to say.
Mhm,
And you
right.
can always change some of these answers or leave them just as they are.
So I'm going to say potential queuing of traffic at the Route 209 Main Street Graphically. Would we consider that a small?
And you might have to wait to hear what Nadine has to say.
Okay. Let's wait till we hear back from Nadine. We can always add that, we can add that answer at our meeting on the
Yeah.
31st, and then we can take it from there. Energy may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. That would be a yes. They are going to use electricity there. New or an upgrading of an existing substation. That's a no.
No.
Required, yeah, that's a no.
I don't think.
That's a no. I can tell you from my knowledge. That is a no.
Megawatt for
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's nowhere near that. It's nowhere near that. So that's a no. And the other impacts is a no.
I think there are others.
I don't think there are either. So we'll check that. Noise, odor, or light?
Yes.
Yes. May produce sound above noise level established by local regulation.
It may.
Well, it's established by local regulation though, and if we put a condition in the decision that they must follow local regulation, then it could be a small impact in my opinion, but it's up to you. If you want to classify it as a moderate, I won't probably disagree. It may.
Yeah, I think we should say.
What's the guidance say? Yeah. While she's doing that, let's look at the next. Certainly B is a no.
I need to know what a routine odor is.
It is a restaurant. There's a ventilation system, but is that a small impact? Probably.
D2 up.
They've answered no. And if it has the proper ventilation. And under building code, it will have to have the proper fan system, so.
Yeah, I think it's nowhere small.
So nowhere small, I would agree. What'd you find out on the other one, Mary Lou?
Okay, so on the other one, it's a small impact if they're going to stay within the regulations. If they're going to exceed them,
All their guidance has said, their documents have said they're gonna stay within
a
and.
small impact could occur under one or more of these circumstances if the project produces noise, but those levels are below regulated levels.
So the code under 14020 says,
And also, if the project produces noise, but those levels are below or even above regulated levels, and they are temporary and will occur only during a short-term construction phase.
That would.
So if they're,
yeah. I mean, there will be noise during the construction.
There will be, yeah, but I'm saying no ongoing.
Do we want to classify as moderate and,
This is just a draft. Let's put it in.
okay, okay. Light shining into adjoining properties. Lighting creating sky glow brighter than existing area conditions. There are streetlights along that section, so I tend to think the answer is small.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree? They're only talking bollard lights, they're not talking.
Well, it's also everything said it was gonna be dark skies.
Yeah. Okay. Other impacts? No? Okay. Impact on human health.
I'm sorry, on D, did you put small or moderate?
Moderate.
Thank you.
Which one?
D.
And then we
light
said-
shining on adjoining property.
And then we said.
Wait, we put moderate?
Me and Michael said moderate.
Yeah, and we said, okay.
Oh. I don't know. I thought I said small, but you guys think it's moderate?
I think it could be.
But you said they're dark sky compliant, which is downward
I
facing.
had said that on the next
Yeah.
one.
I think it's small.
I'll read it to you. How's that?
Okay.
Small impact may occur if a limited number of lighting fixtures are planned for parking and safety lighting, but all fixtures will be fully shielded, downward directed, and no glare or light spillage on adjacent properties. Roadways will result. No signs, accessory structures, or buildings will be illuminated. Moderate to large is lighting will be provided for large recreational facilities or arenas. Lighting will remain illuminated all night. Lighting will be created in a rural area where there is currently dark skies and little sky glow. There are no natural barriers present to screen lighting effects, and the project site is visible from adjacent land uses. Visibility of drivers on adjacent and nearby roads and streets may be impaired.
I think so. I'm good with that then.
Yes, they said, that they'll have dark sky compliant safety lighting along walkways, drives, and parking areas.
I think it's small.
I think
Yeah.
it's
It's
small.
like a big box store park.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you put in the stadium, that's right.
Oh. There's nothing we can do about that.
I know.
Impact on human health, can we agree?
We said no.
And then,
Down the home stretch. Consistency with community plans. It's not consistent with adopted land use plans. These uses are allowed in that zoning district.
yeah, it's a no, I think.
It is a hamlet area. So, does everybody agree on a no?
It's,
I mean,
you could make an argument for E.
but that's if it's not consistent with our comprehensive plan.
And our zoning laws allow.
I'm looking at E, the one about,
I know, but.
But you don't go
that's if
to E
it's-
unless you've answered yes above.
I see.
And then it's not supported by existing infrastructure, or it's distant from existing infrastructure. I mean, it's not really causing a change in density of development. I mean, there are gonna be people living there, but it's no different than if there were single family homes.
Yeah, I think my point is that if you read our comprehensive plan, this type of development is specifically encouraged.
Agreed,
So the answer would be no.
because that's
If
our
it was
adopted land use plan.
specifically not encouraged, then we would read that question. And I guess that's just the secret.
I would agree with you on that, because our comp plan and our zoning code, both.
There's bonuses given for this type of project.
Excuse me. Inconsistent with the existing community character. I think you can say yes.
I would say yes.
They replace or eliminate existing facilities, structures, or areas of historic importance. That's a no.
No.
Demand for additional community services, schools, police, and fire. I don't think it's, I don't think it's a small, if anything. It's not gonna increase schools, police and fire possibly, but I think it's small.
Small.
May displace affordable or low-income housing in an area where there's a shortage of such housing. It's not displacing it because it's not
It's not
replacing.
Well, they did.
They did, they removed a tenant
They did.
in one of the
Oh.
properties.
Was
Right.
it affordable or low income housing that they?
It
I
was
believe
low
so, it
income
was low
housing.
income housing.
Was it? Do we know that?
Sorry,
What's
Donna.
this?
Like you can't undo it. All right. On this question, there may be a small impact if the proposed project decreases the number of affordable housing units in the community, but adequate affordable housing opportunities remain in the community. Moderate to large, if the proposed project will result in a decrease in the number of affordable housing units where the availability of such housing is limited and not expected to meet demand. In your analysis, you have to look at how much affordable housing would be removed. Does the project replace affordable housing opportunities in other areas,
How many
or with
people-
new units? So is that
How many
employee
people lived in
housing?
that unit?
2 units.
Right, it was 2 units.
There was a family of 4 on one side and I think.
Were they two, was it a 2
It
family?
was 2 family, 4 families, 2 separate.
There were 6 families total in those?
No, I'm saying a family of 2, and a family of 4, so 2.
There were two
families,
units. Yeah, doesn't matter the number of people, just there's 2 units and they're building, they're adding one for
But it's
their,
not affordable. Or.
Yeah, they clarified
They
that in
clarified
the
that
last
it's
meeting,
just-
it's not even workforce housing, housing for an employee.
right, but are they giving it as part of their?
They didn't
They
They
just
say whether they
specified.
were, but they were very specific that it was not workforce housing. We're charging under 80% of the median.
Okay,
Okay, here's what affordable housing is defined under in seeker. Affordable housing is generally defined as housing that costs no more than 30% of the buyer's or renter's income.
so,
For example, for someone earning $50,000 a year, an affordable house costs no more than $15,000 a year, $1,250 a month. Displacement of these housing units can change the social fabric and demographics of the community. That in turn can affect the future growth and development and other changes to the physical character of the area. Note that Part 1 does not address or ask for information on affordable or low-income housing. The municipal planning agency, in this case, should have knowledge of the demographics of the area. I guess
what's that moderate
Charlotte's
then?
our
Yeah.
council person for that.
What's in moderate? What's in moderate?
They may have potential.
Proposed action may interfere with the use or enjoyment of officially recognized or designated public resources. That's a no.
No? We don't want to say moderate?
What are you talking?
For public
Rail,
resources,
the rail trail?
it's not through there. Rail
It's not
trail-
currently through there.
Right,
Well,
Isn't it shown on their site?
so that's not a
Saying
public.
that it would
That's not
interfere
officially
with
recognized.
it's not officially
Public
recognized. The
resource.
rail trail ends town hall.
But it's
The
not-
railway used to go through
But if it, even if it did, it wouldn't interfere with it.
It could if they wanted it to. They can put the fence.
Well,
Yeah.
that's,
but it's not an officially,
We'll say no.
it's not an officially recognized or designated public resource. We'd like it to be.
I said we could say no.
I had a meeting,
I get your point.
no, but let me just give you a quick bit of information. I had a meeting with OSI this morning about the existing trail. And they are very open to looking along Granite Road instead of through that backside. And they're gonna explore that possibility with the county, so.
The thing is crossing the roundabout.
No, the big thing is gonna be getting across Granite Road in the middle of the road. Where the county
Crossing
doesn't,
the roundabout.
yeah,
you're gonna have both.
Wonder how new poles stuck out with crosswalk.
they existed before the county came up with that policy. There's another one in High Falls. Yeah,
Well, there's 3 that aren't
Yeah.
at stoplights.
Yep. they,
And, you know, they may have.
they've been existing for a long time, and I believe me, you're asking the same question I asked. I asked the one about High Falls. I know. But they don't want the liability. As soon as they paint the line on their road, they become liable. That's why they don't want the liability.
Oh, we should.
Working,
Well, they did hear
I-
back from Spectrum.
we have OSI working on it on our behalf, and they carry more power in the county than we do right now, so. Proposed action is inconsistent with the prominent architectural scale and character. No? Proposed action is inconsistent with the character of the existing natural landscape. No? We agree with that, or small? Other impacts?
We already talked about noise.
This is community
This is just
character.
a-
Yeah.
I think
I mean-
it's a no.
With the existing community character, I think the only thing I can think of is just we're not talking about 17, because this is this is within our community plans. In terms of existing community character, it's just like a big commercial use where there haven't been.
So should we say a small impact, addition of a new commercial use? I don't think it rises to the level of moderate because it is allowed under the zoning code.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, addition of multiple.
Multiple.
Okay, okay,
You can also use this section that says if there's beneficial impacts on the environment, you can put that.
in here,
Yeah, on the community character.
What's that?
If there are beneficial impacts on the community character, you can include that instead,
well,
or in addition.
I think
Maybe.
in addition, do we want to recognize that historic buildings are, well, we did address that in
Yeah.
the historic section, so I think we're good. I don't think we need anything else. Okay, so we now have gone through the whole thing. We have a
Michael,
couple-
a question. This is Mike Moriello. 18C was no or small or moderate to large. What was the answer?
Moderate to large.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And the last one, addition of the commercial uses, was that? what
That's
was that?
that's a small.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep, and Michael, I'm gonna fill out one online tomorrow and forward it to Mary Lou and you. So you both have it. It'll be clearly marked draft at this point. And then we're gonna let Mary Lou put together our part 2 for us. Knowing that we need to get feedback from Nadine on the traffic, but and then we're gonna shoot. The current plan, in my opinion, is to shoot for Mary Lou bringing that back to us on September 7th. But if she needs more time, she'll need more time. If she does, she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. So that's the goal.
Michael, is 9/7 is the meeting date?
Correct.
Yeah.
First
Okay,
Thursday. Yep.
At 6:30.
and for adoption, official adoption of the part 2.
Hopefully, if Mary Lou's
Okay.
complete. We'll know when ahead of time whether it's on the agenda or not. You know, if she tells me on this weekend or on the Monday before,
Labor Day.
yeah, that's true. It's Labor Day.
But that's okay.
Cancel the trip for this? Take it with you on the trip.
Now, I'm actually answering it to pay for my daughter's.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. That was a lot of work.
Yeah, and you know, it's really important that we take that hard look. You know, under the secret regs, we have to really, you guys did a great job really talking about the question. So thank you for that.
Nope.
Thank you to the board. Thanks for devoting so much time to this tonight. Thanks again.
Thank you, Michael.
Great.
All right. Good night, guys.
Just gonna wait a moment. Okay, come back. Oh, no, we got
No, we got.
more things. Okay, can we all agree to kick the Warwickson Camp Code down the road, although I have printouts to give you
You
tonight?
know, I would like you to take it down the road and I want to send you guys a little memo about differences between Rochester and
But
Williams.
while we're talking about that, let me give you what we have from them.
Because we can do that at the 26th.
Yeah, 26 meetings. But, so this is the new Warwickson code. Sorry, Aaron. See if I do better here. Oh,
I'm gonna pass that to her.
I had a quick shot. And then this is the existing code. What you've got to do is you've got to piece the existing code and the new code together,
Right.
because the new code is only changes. For the you. You want a copy?
Also, you got it once or twice,
Okay.
47 copies.
So, Kate, we're we're moving the Wawarson code to a later time.
Are you done with me in Nexus?
I think so.
Maybe you should just stay for the cap. That's what needs to be.
Yeah. If you want it, that's the existing in the.
And do you want, if we're discussing the CAM code, would you like me here, either virtually or?
That's a
That's a Saturday meeting. I
Oh,
don't think,
no.
we don't need to hear it.
I can write it.
You're gonna write a memo to us.
Write a memo. If you can get that to us before then you can consider your memo.
Okay, do we want to move ahead and wait for Michael to come back on the cap? Do we want to talk about the security consultant or the health insurance? Either one of those.
Talk about health insurance is just us setting. Doing it, or do we have?
So
Josh?
what I have is, we've received 2 proposals. I had a new company reach out to me and propose a different plan. It is cheaper than our existing, or cheaper than our, it's not cheaper than our existing, it's cheaper than our proposed new plan. However, in reviewing it, it's not cheaper. There's a caveat that they didn't tell us about that I discovered today. So what I want to do is give you both proposals. We're not going to vote on anything tonight. I want to vote on it on September 7th. So we can get our meeting scheduled. But let me give these to you so you can look at them and I can try to explain the caveat thing. Then you can pass that over to them. Pass that down to them. No, that's and then it actually has one you can have if you want. So that's the one from our existing Marshall and Sterling. This is the one from the new company that is proposing. That's one copy. That's one copy. That's one copy. The second page is just their disclaimer at the bottom of their email. I didn't catch that. I shouldn't have printed it. Okay, here's a copy for you. So, and then these copies are also from our current vendor. That's one set. And I think I emailed all this to you guys like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But printed it out so we can talk about it. So the Marshall and Sterling package, if you open it up to the renewal analysis, which is about the center. So it's a 7% increase from existing. The HRA funding is currently 3120. And it is going up to $400 to 3520. And for a family, it's 6240 and going up to 7,000. And what we do is we pay the town pays, we have a high deductible. That amount, town pays the first 40%. The employee pays the middle 20, the town pays the back 40%. Many of our employees don't use the whole thing. Some of them, like me this year, are using the whole thing. Yeah, so this other proposal, they are proposing this new thing called a difference card. And I called Marshall and Sterling today and I asked her point blank, I said, what is this difference card? She said, you fund your high deductible plan, we currently fund it. they charge us $250 a month per employee to manage that high deductible for us, Marshall and Sterling. $2.50 per employee per month. This total cost, this difference card, she said, they will likely charge you $50 a month per employee. Nowhere in this proposal do they talk about how much they're gonna charge us different. He says we're gonna save $16,276 a year by going to this difference card, which creates a different type of system. It's essentially the same plan, but the high deductible part is what changes. So currently, we pay 40, the employee pays 20, we pay 40. With them, it will change, and the monthly fee to manage that, she said, I guarantee you. Now, if you'd like, I can reach out to this company and say, how much are you going to charge us for the monthly fee? Because nowhere in this proposal does it say it. In her opinion, she says we're going to eat up that $16,000 a year in an increase in our fees per employee per month. We also have a proven track record with Marshall and Sterling. We've been with them, you know how long?
As long as I've been.
Yeah, 25, 30 years. The employees like the system, it works. They manage the high deductible very, very well. It runs pretty seamlessly. And I will tell you, Minnie is, I've got her on speed dial, and like today I called her and she talked to me for half an hour. I'm just not sure. I think this company's trying to slide in there and, yeah, we can do better for you. In reality, they're not. So what's the board's feeling? Should I reach back out to them? Should we just say we're going with Marshall and Sterling? We don't have to decide tonight, but I wanted to present it so you guys had some time to look at it and think about it. If you want to do some of your own research on what this, because I asked her, I said, what is this difference card thing? And she explained to me how it works.
What, is that the name of the company?
So this is the broker that we buy the plant from. Our plan, the name of the company on the new one, it's on the cover. It's on the cover page that I gave you, the Reese.
Oh. Okay.
You're right. They didn't put it anywhere in their literature.
This.
Yeah. So they called me and said, we'd like to make a proposal. And I said, you're welcome to. I don't know that we're going to consider it, but you're welcome to. And he did. So I felt the need to bring it to you to say, what do you think?
I mean, I personally think it's not broken, don't fix it.
That's my
Something
feeling.
that we're told to do, and we don't even fully, even though it was explained to you, we can't try to.
I'm happy to, now I've spoken to her, and I admit I went to our existing broker to ask what this meant, but she said to me point blank, she said, we could offer you the difference program, but we don't do it because she said, we have one company who's doing it, who just went into a high deductible, and it's their bridge into a high deductible. But she said, personally, they don't like doing it because they don't feel that it saves anything. And I admit, I trust her explicitly. She's never given us bad advice.
Yeah.
And if
I'm
you,
okay.
yeah,
Same.
okay. I'll see if I can find out some answers between now and September 7th. That's a little ways away, but I'll be honest, that was my hope that you guys would say that. Just 7% is not bad.
No, that's.
She did tell me next year we're looking at, they've asked for 10% next year. But that's to the state, and the state hasn't said yes or no. Okay, security consultants.
Should we do the caps and then?
Oh, then Mary Lou can go. Yep. So were you guys able to get numbers?
I can I can tell you verbally.
That's fine.
Okay, so
Which does not include the 81 grandfathered in, so in. Yeah. Oh, 101.
The grandfather?
Yes.
Oh, I was pretty sure that 81 as well.
I knew it was 200 somehow, like that's how it was your grandfather.
Yeah, I didn't get a
100.
chance to do this. Okay, so there's 101 grandfather.
Okay.
Those are the purple ones you're saying?
All of them, like grandfather.
Okay. And then blue is operating with. White is operating. Okay, we spreadsheet, which is very detailed, but I haven't had a chance to look at it. The numbers I got for the non-grandfathered in.
Okay.
That's what we were talking about, is in 2022, there were 63 non-owner occupied
Okay.
permits granted.
Do we know how many owner occupied?
Yes, 66.
So 63 and 66 in 2022.
In 2023,
That's how many we got of each in 2022.
So,
Yes.
I'm sorry, the 63 was the non-owner occupied?
Yeah.
Okay, and the
Oh,
66 was the owner occupied.
and the
Okay.
cap was for 100.
Right.
But
Only for non.
we're going off of the permits taken.
Yep.
Then in 2023, there were 78 permits issued so far for owner occupied.
New ones? 78, that's not including the 66 and 12 now?
Well, I need to look at the spreadsheet because it says there's a number for non-owner occupied, but then that's the new non-owner occupied permits granted for 2023 is 18.
Non-owner. Okay.
But do you see the confusion I have, Charlotte?
Do you want to, I tell you what, if you're this confused and you have the form, why don't you speak to the code enforcement office? Let's bring it back for September 7th. Do it that day. Is everybody okay with that? The only reason we put it in now is so people can start making plans, but because these are for permits for next, they can't, the number we're establishing is new permits starting January 1. The only reason the first year we wanted to establish the number was because we wanted to give people the opportunity to make plans.
Right.
I'd rather wait. If you're that,
Yeah, I got
Sure.
this at the end of the day. so I
Yeah.
just had one.
then let's just take, it.
Um,
Is everybody okay
Charlotte,
with it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, regardless, my number for the cap stays the same, especially now that I know it's 101.
Well,
Grandfather.
is your cap 0? How does the rest of the board feel? For non-owner occupied?
I mean, 101 already, if we did. I don't have the spreadsheet, actually. I do. But the 10%.
I think I'd feel more comfortable waiting till you guys can share the spreadsheet, so we can all be looking at the same thing personally.
I did, I gave you guys paper copies last week, that's what I'm talking about. that.
Oh, he's talking about this.
I'm talking about what she just.
I
got.
haven't shared this. You're the only person I forwarded to, Charlotte.
Gotcha.
I got this while I was still working, and then I came straight here after.
It's fine.
So
I think
didn't
we should
get a
just wait
chance
though,
to-
till we can all see it.
That's,
Do
I
you-
mean, that's.
Maybe you and I could set up a time to look at this together and
Yeah,
make
try
a
to-
little
Hardway on it.
cover sheet.
I'm fine with that.
But right now, we only have, aside from the grandfathered in ones, we have 80.
The grandfathered in ones, do we know how many are owner occupied? How many?
It's in the spreadsheet, but I haven't looked at it.
Then let's just, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like impatient, but let's just wait till we can all look at the numbers.
I think we should wait too.
Yes, I think that you could have a. You think, Tony?
Not if you're 180 days. I mean, yeah, you could. But 180
Jerry
days
goes,
is.
not just their calendar, their.
That's,
travel
yeah, I
plans.
don't.
Yeah. Let's, let's just table it. We'll take no action. I'm not comfortable voting without seeing the numbers.
Okay, I'll try to get something synthesized. We can work together.
And I don't think we should do it at our workshop. I mean, our audit meeting, I think. we
Yeah,
should wait till the regular-
I support not having so much.
I mean, unless it's a public hearing or something.
We all
Yeah,
support
I know,
that.
it's fine. I know, yeah, actual resolutions, I don't. worry about it.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Moving
great.
on.
So we're moving on.
I'm moving on.
Moving out.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. So security consultant. I emailed these to you as well, but these are the proposals. I didn't realize that. One for you. You want one?
What are we doing?
Or do you want it? It's the housing
Sure.
proposal.
Oh, yes,
See if you gotta look at it.
thank you.
Here's the other one.
Thank you.
Aaron. For Adam, one for you.
Okay, this is a big folder. I'm gonna hope my laptop fits in my bag.
So these are the two. The third company did not bow out. I've forgotten their name, but I emailed these to you as well. Yeah, I didn't correct it. So these are the two proposals. Question is, do we want to invite these two companies to come do a presentation at some point? Again, we don't have to decide tonight. We could do that at our September workshop meeting.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna move forward, we should do it ahead of our budgets.
So why don't you guys take a look at this? You can let me know at the workshop meeting, audit meeting, if you want me to schedule them to come on the 10th. These are not, because these are a consultant and a specialist, we don't have to do lowest cost. Because you want to hire the best value for, and we did not set up a scoring system. So, but these are the three companies came and viewed the town. One begged off, and these are the two that, and they're both, well, one is somewhat local, the other one's Long Island City. But that's it. I just wanted to get it in your hands so you can look at it. Do we want to set any special meetings for September for the zoning? Now. If we don't, we can wait until,
Well, Charlotte, you won't be there on the 26th, so.
I will tell you on the 26th, we will likely, what's left, we can easily finish on the 26th.
Yes. That's,
I would also like us to do the subdivision comments back from the county, see if we want to do any tweaks on that code. And then we have still the signs and the wetlands. And then what's left is the district regulations, the schedule of standards, district standards, and then the map. So the goal, the plan is to have it done by the end of October so we can get it to the county for December.
so Charlotte, on that, is it better for us to schedule that meeting in September tonight? Or wait?
Saturdays are really bad for me, so most Saturdays,
Well,
I'm most
Yeah,
likely.
I don't
and
think we want to
understand they
do it
work
on
for
the
every-
first, which is, or the second, which is Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, we're not.
And I'm going away the 9th and 10th, so I wouldn't be available till either the 16th or the 23rd.
You're gone.
Yeah, I may.
Do you want to schedule an
What's Monday,
evening
the 11th,
meeting?
September 11th, something?
Yeah.
I may leave 10 and not be back until.
10th is a Sunday.
Yeah.
Do we want to schedule an evening meeting somewhere around there?
I was just like, I could do I know that Aaron can't.
I can do, it's just,
You can't do a Wednesday.
I can't, Mondays and Wednesday, if I have something on the calendar, I can probably do it.
And we can keep it tight. I mean, we can say we're gonna do. Could you do a 5:30 or is that too soon?
I can do,
Or 6?
I can do
6 to 9, yeah, 5:30 to
They were
8:30.
we're not talking about a day yet,
Not
but
talking about a day, we're just talking about possibly doing a weeknight, so.
you
Sean,
might not be able to.
When are you away, the 10th to what?
I don't know, yeah, I still figure it out. It might not be those days.
We don't have to schedule it tonight, Kate just has to give enough advance notice. What's your notice on that? Well, you could do it in the Freeman, right?
Oh, yeah, I think 3 days if you're
Okay.
doing a special.
So why don't we wait and,
I'll have a better idea after this.
yeah, remember, our next meeting is for, well,
Yeah, we're 2 weeks.
well, we got the 26th. And then the
Is that
31st.
before? Oh, okay.
Yeah. We could set it that day. But
On the
Charlotte. would be
26th.
here.
Yeah, that's the only thing. What, why
As long
was
as you
that?
guys don't do it Tuesday night or the third one, that actually the house committee, you know, they're on for a month, but like.
So
as long as you don't
Tuesday
do
night doesn't work?
Tuesday night and Friday.
Okay, so Monday, so then it's only, the only night it's gonna be able to be is a Thursday then, because Aaron can't do
I-
Mondays and Wednesdays.
I can do those if I can switch. the day I go.
Okay. Well, look at your calendars, figure out when you can. I think we need to plan like 1 or 2 between, and bear in mind, October, we're gonna be budget.
For the mapping session, I do feel like that probably has got, we will need.
We're gonna need at least 2 meetings.
I think maybe make one Saturday. September work.
Toward the end of September, maybe, yeah, we could do that, so. What's that, Michael?
I'm not gonna have to do math. So,
No. We're gonna identify by parcel ID and I'm gonna county get them to do it for us.
I'm just putting it out there, I could probably do the 16th
Okay,
of September as a Saturday.
okay,
If you're not doing Labor Day or the 9th. I have,
let's put it as a possibility and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
yeah.
If we could do the 16th and one weeknight somewhere in September and then we'll see if we need, because depending on the if we're gonna eat up the September 14th for interviews with these guys, that's gonna take most of the meeting. Otherwise,
I might be able to make Tuesdays work in September too. My
Okay.
husband's law partner's having a baby that was due today, any day now, so.
the other thing is, it's our call if we want to push these guys off for a little while. It's up to you if you think the urgency of it.
Okay. That's everything, right? Except
Except
for,
for the cancel.
Yep, so I do have to do that resolution and then I got a voucher for you guys to sign. Town of Rochester Town Board cancels special workshop meeting set for August 19, 2023 at 9 AM. And reschedules the workshop meeting for August 26, 2023 at 9 AM at the Harold Lipton Community Center, 15 Tobacco Road, Packard, New York, and requests the town clerk circulate news. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Lastly, I have, something spelled on there.
It's probably me when I.
Probably Michael's water, yeah. Voucher for the KFAS ambulance district. We have their 3-month financial, we have their 3-month call list. We just didn't have at the September, I mean, at the workshop meeting, we didn't have the sorry. I even brought the pens because I knew you'd ask.
Hey, I have enough colored pens here, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, once you sign it, I'm authorized to pay it, so we don't need a resolution for that. Town of Rochester Town Board motions to enter an executive session at 9:08 PM. For the purpose of discussion of matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of, and I'm gonna say particular persons. Plural. I'll make the motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.